Hello and welcome to JavaScript and Introduction. In this part we're going to be looking at strings and things we can do using strings. So we know that a string is denoted by apostrophes, either the double apostrophes or the single apostrophes, and anything that goes inside of these apostrophes is a string. Strings have functions that we can use to modify the string, and we denote a function by following the string with a full stop and then the function name, which is anything like that. And we can do the same thing with variables instead. So I've got a variable here that stores a string, and I want to use this variable, and then I want to alter the string that this variable holds. So I can do the exact same thing like so. A very useful function that we can use is the substring function, like so. And the substring function allows us to get a substring of a larger string. So say if I wanted just the word I'm out of this one, I could use the substring function to do so. And we do this by passing two values into the parentheses of the substring. The first one being where we want to start the substring from, and the second being where we want to end it at. And the way this works is 0 is the very beginning of the string, so it's not 1, it's 0. And then if I wanted this word, it would be 1, 2 characters. So I would go 0 to 2, like so, and I'll log that to the console by just copying and pasting it in here, like so. Get rid of that, and then if I run the code with Control, Alt, and N, and wait for it to run, there it says I'm. So if I change this to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, we should get the string with the exclamation mark, like so. Another useful function we can use is the includes function, and then we use this function to just see if a string includes a smaller string. So let's say I want to check if my new variable string holds the string A, and then I'll run that and we should see true. If I try to put and I run that, it'll return false. Now these two functions that we just went through are only just two, obviously. There are a lot more, and I'm not going to go through all of them. But if you go to Google and search for JavaScript string functions, you'll see a whole list of references that just show you what they do and how to use them. There are a lot of very useful ones to use. So moving on, we have what's called concatenation. Concatenation is used to merge two strings together. So let's say if I had a forename string, and I put this as, I don't know, Albert, and then I had a surname string and put that as Einstein. And if I wanted to merge these two strings into a full name variable, I would simply put the forename and then the plus sign and then the surname, like so. And I'll log that to the console, and you'll see what happens. It prints them out together, but there is no space in between like you would obviously expect to be in a name. And this is because when we join these together, there isn't any trail and white space at the end. So a way we can fix this is we could add the white space here, but that's a bit stupid because the forename isn't Albert space. So we want to keep that like so. And we can just concatenate another empty string with a space in it like so. And then I will log that out and we'll see Albert Einstein with the space. Now, if you imagine if I had lots of different things that we wanted to concatenate and we had to add this every time, it would get very tedious. Luckily, there are things called template literals or template strings that allow us to do the same kind of thing very easily. And we denote template literals using the button to the left of the number 1 on the keyboard, like that. And then whatever's inside of here, we can write it acts as a string. So if I just wrote string, this is the exact same as earlier when we had the double apostrophes in the string. There is no difference, it just compiles down to a normal string. But it allows us to use variables inside of here. And we do that by writing the $sign, and then a pair of opening and closing curly brackets, like so. And then inside of these brackets, we put the variable name, so forename. And then we can do it again with surname, like so. Okay, not surname, yes. And then if I save that and log it out, you'll see Albert Einstein with a space. and it automatically just moves that space there. So it allows us to create strings using variables. It's just a very neater way to do it. And when you go on to more advanced stuff using JavaScript, these become a lot more useful. So earlier when we used the substring function, we used it to get a little part, a few characters, a select amount of characters that we choose out of a string. Another way we can do this is using brackets. Let's just create a variable called initial for the name initial. And the way we can access any character in a string is using brackets. So let's put the forename. Why isn't that auto-completing? Forename followed by the brackets, and then we want the number at which the string belongs. So if we put 0, and we'll log this out, initial, and we'll save that, and then we'll run it, we'll see we get A. So if we put it at 1, we're going to expect the L, like so. Things get a little bit trickier when we want the last character of a string, because we don't actually know the size of the string. It can be, obviously a string can be of any size, so we can't just put like 10 because it's going to be different for every string. So how do we access the last character of a string? Well, we know that the first one is 0, the second one is 1. So we know that if we want the first character, we do 0, so that's 1 minus 1 is 0. If we want the second character, we minus 1 of 2, and that's 1. So to access the second character, we do 1. So to access the last character, it's going to be the length of the string minus 1. And there is a function that allows us to get the length of any string. It's actually not a function because we don't write the parentheses, we just write dot length, and then we do minus 1, and then that should give us t. And I forgot to change the log here, so I'll refresh that, and there we go, we get t. So there are a lot more things we can do with strings. Obviously, it's just going to be a bit stupid me going through every single one. So I would advise going on Google and learning a bit more of the other useful functions you can use. But if you don't, it doesn't matter, because when you eventually do come to creating things with JavaScript, you'll run into problems that you'll Google and you'll fix with. But now you know how to use the basic ones, you'll be able to use any function or thing that you can do with a string. And that's it for part 2. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next part.